Hey guys, looking at this T-cell pouch from Carcajou, maybe? I don't know, maybe it's French-Canadian, in which case I got no chance of pronouncing it correctly. Carcajou Tactical. He does have a website. Outside of that, I've only seen him on Instagram, so I don't know if he has a footprint anywhere else. But you may or may not have been hit by some of his sponsored or suggested posts, which I understand can look a little shady, especially on Instagram, where like that's usually associated with Wish level products. But I think he's just trying to get his name out there, so I wouldn't sweat that too much. But so he did send me this to help get his name out there, right? As well as the Recon Boonie, which we'll look at in a minute. But this is the Thermacell pouch, which I think, aside from being a cool product, because Thermacells seem to work really well. I've had great experiences with them, and being able to keep this on your kit and contained well and ventilated so that it can function, I'm excited for. I only know of, I think, one other dedicated Thermacell pouch, which is the Matt Bach one, and that one is also perfectly adequate. But this is probably cheaper, right? So Thermacell inside, right? It is carried upside down. I don't think that will cause any issues based on my experience with Thermacells in the past, right? But I've got an older model here, and I should have a newer model somewhere. If I find it, I will let you guys know how it fits, but they're relatively the same size. Thermacell has kept it consistent, right? But I think aside from being a quality pouch, and I'll show you some of the things that I think drive or indicate the quality of this, it really illustrates well what laser cutting has brought to the table as far as capabilities go. So I think the ventilation here is one key aspect. Older materials and older technologies to do this, you would either need a mesh type product, which sometimes mesh retains heat more than other fabrics, in spite of looking like it's ventilated. And you would need, multiple types of materials to get this to work, or kind of hand punching holes in Cordura and then burning the edges, which is doable, but that's a lot of labor, right? So I think this really illustrates well. You set your material on the laser, run your baseline pattern so everything's flat and all cut, and then you just have to fix the seams. It really adds a lot of automation to the process, which I think, one, lets folks get products to us cheaper, but it also lets them do more things to a pouch for a similar price to some of the older, simpler pouches. Other things that fall in line with that thought process are your shot cord retention being a tab that is part of the base layer and not webbing sewn in after the fact. The side molly here, this is wildly simplified through laser cutting. So you've got this kind of sleeve here that is also molly. So if you had shears or something you want to stick in there, or chem light, or molly a pouch on, like both are viable options there. But that's just one piece then that gets sewn into the final construction here. Things like the shaping of this pull tab here was not crazy doable with older Cordura, because you usually have to do some edge binding or serging, which would be real goofy looking. But instead you can just cut that taper. Same thing with the backside here. This is absolutely growing on me, the 1/2 inch out of spec PALS webbing here, where you have more finite control over the height of pouches. That was just not very doable with old school materials, because you'd have to use 1/2 inch binding tape or bias tape to get that to work, or gutted 550 cord would work as well, but that's a lot of stitching. This way, just run it through the laser and it's all there. Tuck tabs being a part of the rest of the product, and the footprint, I think laser cutting we're gonna see it it's already exploded, right? But we're gonna see more and more unique designs being capable through the magic of lasers. All right, so that is the T-cell pouch. Good flap, right? It's a fixed sized item, so you don't need a ton of adjustability there. They're all more or less the same size. You do have shock cord here if you need to tighten that up a bit. Really good ventilation. I'm using it because it's mosquito season in North Dakota, and I'm trying it out, but I have no qualms or concerns that this is going to work perfectly well. See, there's a mosquito right there. I should have turned it on while I was shooting. All right, but that's the T-cell pouch. And then he also sent me the Recon Boonie, or Recce Boonie. I think it's Recon Boonie, which is like a pre-modified Boonie, if you will. And I'm not going to say it's the best Boonie I've ever seen. There's a gentleman that, as far as I know, only lives on Facebook, and I haven't dealt with him in probably 10 years now. But he was making some custom Boonies back in the day, and I'm going to butcher his name as well. It was like Slavengol or something along those lines. Really cool custom hats. This is right up there with quality and features. It doesn't have any built-in ventilation, which is the one piece that I really appreciated on that other one. But I do like the finishing touches that he's putting on here. So he's got your kind of typical Boonie daisy chain around the side. And inside of that, he has run some shock cord sizing. So there are two sizes of this. I got the smaller one, and it just fits, which I think is okay because I don't have to tighten down the shock cord to make it work, which I'm glad that I don't have to, because now I have more pressure spread out around my head instead of just the shock cord there. But that is an option if I need to tension it up a little bit. It also has a paracord lanyard on here. The one thing that would have been cool is if the lanyard was removable. I've noticed putting it on that I don't really want the lanyard in front, so I just got to remember to tuck it behind. And I don't really need the lanyard because of the sizing here. So I don't know, having that removable is like that and some ventilation is about the only feedback I would give on here. The edge is raw, done intentionally to help break up silhouette and give you some of that shape to it. But it is stitched along the circumference, just like a typical Boonie. So it's not going to fray. It's not going to fray fast, right? I'm not going to say you're not going to wear this out as you wear it. Some binding on there or serging would definitely protect that edge longer, but you're going to have to wear through several layers of this. And you could shorten the brim if you wanted to, right? Like, you're not going to hurt anything by cutting the next seam in if that was something that you wanted to do. You'd have to do it uniformly around the side. You couldn't like cut the sides short and leave the front and back long. That would be goofy and pop that stitching. On the top, you got your scrim there for any kind of foliage addition needs that you might have. I think it looks cool. I definitely think it's a cool looking Boonie, right? If nothing else, looking cool is rule number one, right? And the only other thing that like is not in here, but I've never personally done it, and I've never felt a strong need, especially with these chopped down Boonies, is a reinforced brim, right? So that's something that you could add later on. Just put a little bit of coat hanger in there, and you're good to go. Or a zip tie will work sometimes. But yeah, that's the Recon Boonie. I'm a big fan. Plus it is in multicam arid, so even if it was a dumb design, it's already looking cool because it's arid. But it looks cool too, right? So yeah, Carcajou, maybe tactical on Instagram, and I will try my best to remember to put a link on the video. But thanks for your time, guys. Really cool products, and I appreciate them for sending these my way. Thanks.